dynasty or the Gupta dynasty, I called them or I refer to them as empires. तो आप ये छोटा सा डिफरेंस ध्यान में रखिएगा. Now let's come to the first topic which is Princip and Piyadasi. तो अब जो हमने डेवलपमेंट्स की बात की है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल दैट किंगडम्स एमर्ज्ड, देयर वर सम सेंट्रल अथॉरिटीज़ लाइक किंग्स एट्सेट्रा, तो वो सब के बारे में हमें पता कैसे चला? तो देयर आर रेंज ऑफ सोर्सेज, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंस्क्रिप्शंस, टेक्स्ट, कॉइन्स, विजुअल मटीरियल्स एट्सेट्रा. तो लेट्स ब्रीफली टॉक अबाउट व्हाट इंस्क्रिप्शंस आर. इंस्क्राइब करने का मतलब होता है लिखना. तो पुराने टाइम में लोगों के पास पेपर तो होता नहीं था टू राइट, सो दे यूज टू यूज़ सर्टेन मटेरियल्स लाइक मेटल, स्टोन, barks ऑफ ट्रीज, लीव्स, पॉटरी एट्सेट्रा. तो ये जो एनग्रेविंग्स होती हैं ऑन हार्ड सर्फेसिस, दे आर रेफर्ड टू एज इंस्क्रिप्शंस. जो इंस्क्रिप्शंस होते हैं दे आर परमानेंट रिकॉर्ड्स एंड सम ऑफ विच इवन कैरी डेट्स. जो अर्लीस्ट इंस्क्रिप्शंस थी वो लिखी गई थी इन द लैंग्वेज प्राकृत, विच इज़ वन ऑफ द languages which ordinary people used at that time. So these inscriptions provide a great deal of information. Now the study and interpretation of inscriptions is termed as epigraphy. So 1830s में there was this person James Princip who was the officer in the Mint of East India Company. Mint वो जगह होती है जहाँ पे coins बनाए जाते हैं, for example टकसाल जिसे आप हिंदी में बोलते हैं. So he was an officer in the Mint of East India Company and he deciphered or decoded two scripts which is Brahmi and Kharoshthi. So ये जो दो scripts थी they were used in inscriptions and coins which were in use at that time. तो जब जेम्स प्रिंसिप ने ये स्क्रिप्ट्स डीकोड करी तो वी गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट व्हाट वाज द पॉलिटिकल सोशल इकोनॉमिक लाइफ ऑफ दैट टाइम. देयर इज ऑल्सो अ मेंशन ऑफ दिस टर्म पियादसी विच इज ऑफन एसोसिएटेड विद अशोका. पियादसी का मतलब होता है समवन हु लुक्स अपॉन अदर्स विद काइंडनेस. तो अब ये जो उन्होंने स्क्रिप्ट्स डिकोड करी, दिस गेव अ मेजर बूस्ट टू इंडियन एज वेल एज यूरोपियन स्कॉलर्स टू रिकंस्ट्रक्ट द लीनिएजेस ऑफ मेजर डायनेस्टीज दैट रूल्ड द सबकॉन्टिनेंट. As a result of which 1950s तक पहुँचते पहुँचते we could get a lot of information about the political history of the subcontinent. So the next topic is earliest states, 16 Mahajanpads. So we've already discussed कि Mahajanpads emerge कैसे हुए. Now let's discuss some of the features of these Mahajanpads. So first of all, इस time पे there was growing use of iron, then cities developed, coins were being used, etc. So this kind of indicates that there was a shift from rural way of life to an urban way of life. Also, this period is marked by the growth of two major religions. One is Buddhism and the other is Jainism. Then जो Mahajanpads थे, they were of two types. First is oligarchy and the other one is monarchy. तो monarchy में क्या होता था? There was a single person who used to be the king or the ruler. However, in case of oligarchy, oligarchy implies where a small group of people rule. So in the case of oligarchies, there was not one ruler but a few people who ruled together. तो ये जो रूलर्स थे इन्हें गण कहा जाता था या संघ कहा जाता था, and they were collectively termed as rajas. One interesting thing is that Buddha, who was the founder of Buddhism, and Mahavir, who was the founder of Jainism, they both belonged to such Jans. For example, Buddha belonged to the Sakya Gan and Mahavir belonged to the Vajji Gan. Next, each Mahajanpad had a capital city and this capital city was fortified. That is, it was ensured that the capital city was protected against attacks. Further, there was an army maintained by each Mahajanpad for its protection and there was bureaucracy for the governance. नेक्स्ट फीचर इज़ दैट ये जो महाजनपद के रूलर्स थे इनके लिए जो नॉर्म्स लिखे गए थे या रूल्स लिखे गए थे विच दे नीडेड टू फॉलो वर रिटन इन टेक्स्ट कॉल्ड द धर्म सूत्रस. सो धर्म स्टैंड्स फॉर लॉ और राइटियस कंडक्ट एंड सूत्र स्टैंड्स फॉर एफरिज्म या जिसे आप कहावत भी कहते हैं. So Dharam Sutras, they were basically a collection of phrases and sayings stating the general truth. They contained the norms and the rules of conduct for the king. अब you guys might be familiar with the term धर्म शास्त्र. There is a little bit difference between धर्म सूत्र and धर्म शास्त्र. जो धर्म शास्त्र होता है that is mostly written in verse form. That is पोइट्री की फॉर्म में लिखा जाता है एंड इट इज़ मोर और लेस सिस्टमैटिक इन नेचर, वेयर एज धर्म सूत्र के केस में इट इज़ अ मिक्सचर ऑफ बोथ प्रोज एंड वर्स. However, both of these texts contain very important information with respect to righteous conduct and moral values. Next important feature of Mahajanpad was that the king used to collect taxes and tribute. Now we've already discussed कि इनकी जो capital city होती थी that was fortified and there were armies for the protection as well as there was bureaucracy for the governance of the kingdom. तो अब इन सब की maintenance के लिए it is obvious that the king required resources, और वो resources उसे कहाँ से मिलते थे? By way of taxes and tribute which he used to collect from common people. Another feature of Mahajanpad is that raids were recognized as a legitimate source of acquiring wealth. Matlab, for the purpose of expansion of Mahajanpad, these Mahajanpads used to raid their neighboring states. Next, we have the military power. Now, we've already discussed that army was an essential component of the Mahajanpad and that raid or expansion of Mahajanpad was a common feature. So it is but obvious that these Mahajanpads required considerable military power to ensure their protection. Lastly, there were social differences which existed in these Mahajanpads as well. When you'll read the chapter, you'll encounter terms like Gahapati or Grahapati and Dasa. So these indicate that there was some sort of social differentiation existing even at that point of time. So now, since we've discussed the major features of Mahajanpads, let's move on to talk about one particular Mahajanpad, which is the Magad kingdom. Now, between the 6th and the 4th century BCE, Magad became the most powerful Mahajanpad. Now, there were a variety of reasons for the same, which are mentioned in the book. However, they can be broadly classified into geographical reasons and political or administrative reasons. So now the first geographical reason is that in this region, agriculture was especially productive. Now the Magad kingdom corresponds to present day Bihar. तो ये area जो है ये बहुत ज़्यादा fertile है and is best suited for agriculture. Next, इस region में बहुत सारे minerals भी पाए जाते हैं. For example, iron mines are easily available in abundance. तो tools and weapons के लिए resources मिलने काफ़ी easy हैं. Next, elephants, which are an important component of the army, are easily available in the forests of this region. Also, the fact that this region is near the Ganga River, which is one of the major rivers of India, it provides for cheap and convenient communication. So, all in all, the location of this Magad kingdom proved extremely beneficial for the kingdom as such. Next, जो मगध किंगडम का prowess है that cannot be solely attributed to its geographical location. Scholars even suggest that जो उस टाइम के रूलर्स थे उनकी policies and administrative measures काफ़ी ज़्यादा strong थे because of which they could expand their kingdoms. So both of these reasons made sure that Magad turned out to be one of the most powerful kingdoms of that time. The capital of Magad was Rajgah, which corresponds to present-day Rajgir. Later on, in the 4th century, the capital of Magad was shifted from Rajgah to Patliputra, which corresponds to present-day Patna. So this is all for this video. So in the next video, we'll discuss about two major empires. One is the Mauryan Empire and the another one is the Gupta Empire, which originated in Magad. Thank you so much for watching this video.